Kathy Halas, who is the Vice Chair of the Westchester Women's Agenda.
My name is Kathy Halas, and I'm Executive of the Catholic Council of Westchester. But I'm here tonight actually as Vice Chair of the Westchester Women's Agenda, which is a nonpartisan feminist coalition, a voice for women in Westchester on legislative policy and program issues. Our members represent quite a broad spectrum of political and philosophical views, but we share a strong commitment to social justice for women. My task tonight is a little bit different. I'm going to go through 7 subject areas as efficiently as possible. In the area of economic development, the agenda thanks the Westchester delegation for its support for the New York State Revolving Loan Fund, which was funded previously at $25 million. It's been wonderful support to small business. We urge continued support for the Entrepreneurial Assistance Centers and CDFI programs of the Empire State Development Corporation, and an investment of $15 million in the New York State CDFI fund. In the area of immigration, we're asking that the secure communities be rescinded in New York State. Secure communities refers to a memorandum of agreement that was signed by the state with Immigration and Customs Enforcement last May, which we feel undermines the safety of our communities rather than strengthen it. In the area of civil legal services, we ask for approval of Chief Judge Lipman's budget for the State Office of Court Administration, with no change in the amount budgeted for civil legal services. I believe the judge added $25 million this year. In the very important area of housing, we're hoping for support for Housing First agenda for a $500 million capital dollar investment in housing development. Housing First is a statewide coalition. We're looking for maintenance of funding for neighborhood preservation and rural preservation companies at current levels, and continuation of the fund for foreclosure prevention services at $12.5 million. In the area of violence against women, we request that the Westchester's Rape Crisis Program be safeguarded, and that the current funding of the New York State Department of Health be preserved, and that if at all possible, that there be some way to increase funding for rape crisis centers throughout the state. And we are hoping that there will be state-level support established for Westchester's SANE program, which refers to Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner Program, which is primarily funded at this point at the local level, but not with dollars from the state. In the area of domestic violence, we are requesting funding for domestic violence victims from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities. And you'll be happy to know that these next few things don't have price tags with them, but we are looking, in fact, for some movement in the policy world. That discrimination in employment be prohibited for victims of domestic violence, as well as discrimination in housing. In the area of child care, we're looking for a continued investment of $956.8 million for child care funding, and continued progress in establishing Quality Stars in New York to really provide better outcomes for children. And we're hoping for continued funding of $414 million for pre-K. In the area of health and mental health, we would like to see a reduction in healthcare spending by managing chronic disease better at the primary care level. We're looking for a maintenance of funding for family planning, and we would like to see finally the full of healthcare in the healthcare reform implementation. Which is me.
That was a mouthful.
Yes, that was a quick dance over the landscape of human services.
Well, thank you very much. As you know, we met for breakfast not too long ago and had that discussion in the round table. But
Yes.
There are a multitude of these things, and I think people need to understand many of these programs are not programs that are initiatives just out of Westchester County. They are statewide programs or countywide programs that are continuously and have been funded, and are in the process of being continue at some level. And of course the devil is in the detail, how much we'll get for things, where to take it from line A to put it in line B and C. By the way, there's another thing everyone I think should always know, and that is, according to a legal case called Pataki versus Silver from some years ago, many people don't realize the New York State Assembly and Senate cannot put 10 cents into the New York State budget. It is the executive budget. The executive is the CEO of the state, and we are compelled by law to work with what he gives us. Where we have latitude is to argue with him and say, look, I'd like you to take something out of line A and put it in line C. We think that's more important. Line B we can we can live without, but it will solve a lot of problems if you put all those funds in line D. So that's kind of where our latitude is. In some cases you feel sort of impotent about this because you would like to be able to do this. And of course, remember, there are 212 of us who are lobbying the governor and people on his staff every single day, because at the end of the day, I work for you. I'm going to fight for our piece of the pie, but yet remember the little comment I made to you in speaking to one of my colleagues about art and music versus math and science. So, you look at it in the micro, but then at some point in time you have to look at the macro and say, well, what serves the greater good of the people in New York? So anyway, I thank you so much.
Well, thank you. We know you're a good fighter.
I thank you.